Okay, here it is. I'm looking at it now.
Cool.
Of one. What we have about the world is that it's green.
Yes. What we have about the world is that it is the body of the god of life who has
Mhm.
died and essentially cursed the world to never stop growing.
Mhm.
Um, and as such, the world has become un like the ground has become uninhabitable as these like forests that are like deep as like oceans, like the tall sequoia trees like go up and stretch beyond the clouds and stuff. Um, and like thick blankets of kudzu are like scattering around the
So it's like full of invasive plant beauty.
basically, yeah. Um,
Mm.
and to combat this, a bunch of the gods and the people kind of made communities in the mountains and have been using uh, flying animals to get around.
Mhm. So is there a also to clarify, I know we are world building together. My method is just to ask questions and then you'd be like, I don't have an answer, and then I'm like, okay. So I'm not expecting you to know everything. Um, so is there like a reason that the forest does not extend upwards and into the mountains, or like is it going to one day?
I think that it is a constant like battle. I think that each like settlement has its own like patron god that has its own way of keeping back the emerald tide. Whether that be like uh we mentioned an ink god at one point.
Mhm.
Whether that be like cleansing tags to like burn away it, or like another god might use like fiery machines or something. Um, it just uh, depends on the settlement and the god,
Mhm.
I think. So that's kind of what we're gonna be discussing now. Like, do you have any ideas for like where, like, any cool places where you want to have like grown up or anything? Or
I have not thought about that, but I've thought about places that I
okay,
think are interesting just conceptually, kind of.
okay.
Um, of just a lot of, or maybe not a lot of, just some little thing. Um, I was thinking, when you said like, that they're like fighting off, like they're like I guess like like it is trying to come up into the mountains and they are actively trying to have it not come up into the mountains.
Mhm.
Um, methods of like receding and stuff I think are interesting. So I think it would I so I can conceptualize the like base concepts of like if there was like a withering area or like an area where like stuff was like the thing you said, like with the fire where stuff is like just burned back all the time. I think that is interesting, but that'd also be like really dangerous.
Well, that's part of the kind of joy is that like this is supposed to be a not good world.
Mhm.
Like the gods are supposed to be unkillable creatures to mortals who are like uh trotting upon them and are just like using them as pawns essentially. Um
Mhm.
and I think that that would make a lot of sense in like, let's take the burning for example. Like the the air would be like thick with smog and stuff, and like there would be soot just like littering the ground. people would have to have like gas masks and stuff when they go outside.
Yeah, I
Um,
think like cities where like the whole thing is just like or like the surrounding perimeter and stuff is just like zones you have to walk through with like where like the ground is just ash and it's like it's just embers and it's burning all the time.
yeah,
I think it is interesting. It's kind of dark fantasy flavored a little bit.
hell yeah,
And like in a similar domain, I think like everything withering or like, crumbling away and other like in another place is also neat.
yeah,
Um,
like a blight that's just affecting the place around it, but that
yeah,
also
the
means like you can't grow anything inside the city and
blight,
stuff.
decay, stuff like that. I was just thinking like what are the easiest ways to kill plants?
Other things I've been thinking of is like maybe a barrier of ice,
Mm.
and like ice and water. Other things, maybe one person has kind of like lifted their settlement like off the ground, and it's like a hovering thing. Um,
The water one is interesting because like in watery places like there's the risk of like plants. What are they called? Um oh my god, what's it called? Salvinia. You know
Al,
salvinia?
hold on,
Salvinia. It's like one of those plants.
Salvinia,
Mm.
yes.
Yes, and you can drown your fish with it
Ah,
if you have too much of it. That's not
oh, it
like
decreases
that's
ox. Okay, yeah.
I'm not fucked up, I promise. I was just thinking like, oh, people put it in fish tanks and then I was like and they have to put little bubbles in so the oxygen can come out of the water or whatever because the fish will just like suffocate if you have too much of it. But like things like there would still be like plants in the water, I would assume, unless it's like salt. There's plants in salt water.
There are plants in salt water, but kudzu can't grow in salt water.
This is true. So so what happens is it just gets seaweed.
I mean, it's also like a god is like physically
Mm,
uh protecting this place. So maybe it's like a rushing river that you can't like
I
nothing can
see.
grow in. Stuff like
That
that.
makes more sense. I was thinking it was like still water, and I was like, that sounds like a really good place, actually.
um and that's another thing I haven't thought of is that finding water in this place would probably be really hard.
But like, get, could you get, can, if you're dehydrated, are there like plants you can eat? You know what I mean? Like in real life, like,
um
cause they eat the water, so like you
there
get the moisture from the
I
trees.
mean you can eat like fruit and stuff, but the myth of like eating cacti and stuff is not true. Um I don't think you can just like eat nom on a plant.
Could you like distill a plant?
It's just making tea.
Well, like, if you take the water out of it, or thinking, is this possible? Can you distill a plant?
Um,
Do plants have a boiling point? Well, the water has a boiling point.
do plants have a boiling point?
You'd need you'd need a liquid to put the plant in, I think.
Yes.
And then you would need to like break it apart so that the water molecules could separate. So you'd need a liquid in order to get the liquid.
And at that point, it's just going to be mostly your first liquid. So,
So maybe yeah, maybe you can't distill plants. Hmm.
Hmm.
Anyways, people are dehydrated.
Yeah, people are dehydrated. Um,
There's no rain?
there is, but there being on mountains means that a lot of it turns to snow before rain.
Mhm,
Um, but that is mainly how they get their water in the settlements. But like out in the wild, you're gonna be hard pressed to find water, I
mhm.
think. Um,
The fire zone, if that would exist, probably wouldn't have very much water in it.
yeah,
I'd assume it would, like, be fucking dry.
or polluted.
Both, probably.
um, Another town idea is one that uses acid.
Mhm.
Um,
You're thinking, like, the weed killer god, but it's, like, not a thing.
um, Not like the corrosive goddess could be something.
Acid is good. Bugs?
Bugs is fun.
Bugs is horrible. Bugs is so nasty.
I love it.
They, like, could just eat everything.
Locusts.
Just a scary town.
Oh, I really like it.
So there's a bug town maybe. Bug god. Are you just, like, writing down god types for, like, random shit we list, I'm assuming?
I'm writing down like town ideas, yeah.
Mhm.
Um so yeah,
Hmm.
do any of these sound like places that you would want to start a story in or
Begin a story in as in, like, your life or just begin in?
either?
Hmm,
Any of
what
them
do we
sound
have s
interesting? We have a burning one, water one, acid one, uh bugs. We have the one that's like ink.
the bugs is too scary.
Okay.
I think the ink or the burning one would either be a good place to start off in or to, like, wander into. Um, the burning one has, like, a feel, like, I can imagine that.
Okay.
Um,
Let's start from
and
the
I
burning one
think and I think the ink one is, like, aesthetically good.
then. Okay. So, another portion of the world is the river, which is
Mm.
the kind of aurora in the sky that it is said that the gods came down from. It is kind of like the afterlife and also like the realm of deities. Um,
So it's like if Saturn's rings were heaven.
Basically.
Okay.
Um, but it is drying up and it is getting fainter in the sky
Mm.
as things are going on. And I think that in the Fire Town, there's probably a lot of um, like stipulation about like, oh, we're creating so much smog that we can't see the river anymore, and it's like mm, a big point of contention, maybe.
Contention is in, like, they don't realize it's just going away.
Contention in that like they think that because they're relying so much on the uh like the fire and the pollution that they're creating, they think that they're the ones that are making it go away or something.
I see. In like a light pollution sense where the stars are still there, but you can't see them, or in like a we're deleting the stars quite literally way?
And the second one,
Mm. So it would be like so they would probably care about, like, not using it ungratefully, I would assume, or something. Taking it for grant you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, it would be like, it would, at this point in time, probably have started becoming like a precious thing that you probably shouldn't just, like, be slinging around everywhere, I would assume.
You think it's more like ritual in a sense? Because it is an
Mm,
act of worship. It is something that the god is giving to people. Um, so it would probably have its own like religious connotations as well.
like lighting fires and utilizing it for things.
Yeah.
Mhm. I would imagine so. I have a question. This actually brings about the question of technology. Like, so, like, is this like a world where people still light fires to cook food or what?
Um, well, I can kind of talk about that. Do you think it's any sort of what tech level do you think works best for this type of story?
Honestly, probably not that high.
Yeah. Um, yeah,
I would I would assume people are still like cooking food with fire. I would assume.
probably. Um, there
I
probably
cannot
isn't.
imagine electricity in something like this.
Yeah, no, definitely not electricity. There's probably like the there's probably like bows and arrows and all sorts of swords and stuff. Um,
Fire ovens.
fire ovens.
Fire
Um,
like ovens.
and there's probably also in some reaches. This is another town idea. Um, firecrackers and uh like that sort of uh gunpowder is like a relatively like really new
Mm.
invention by a god probably. Um,
So they don't so yeah, it would be like not guns that we see that are real.
yeah,
Mhm. So, like, pre-industrial revolution.
yeah, basically. Um, like a medieval level kind of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
but still has plumbing.
yeah, it's less like
I say this because I think about you saying this, and I was like, Sadie hates no plumbing.
hey, what?
Sadie hates no plumbing.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I really dislike no plumbing, but it's fine.
I dislike no plumbing because one time fucking Quinn was running a campaign and I was like, "So, like, what is the, like, how do people take baths and stuff?" And Quinn told me and I was like, "This is terrible."
Yeah, it's not fun.
This is why we get prestidigitation
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal in like D&D when
when you
uh
can just magic
yeah,
everything clean, but, like, it's so nasty.
so nasty. I hate it.
So civilized plumbing systems within an old world. Um,
I mean, the ancient Romans had lead piping, so not that
yeah,
far off.
they
Okay.
did have
Hmm,
I was gonna say they did have, but I guess also they probably get, like, lead poisoned water.
probably. But
Maybe lead doesn't exist, it's okay. Um, where were we?
um
Ritual fire and
yes.
weaponry.
Do you think that that's actually a good point. Do you think that they use fire in their weaponry as well?
Hmm. Maybe they used to, but it's dropping off because 'cause they're scared.
Hmm.
Like, maybe it is reserved for people who have the right to do that now within you know what I mean? Like,
Okay. Can you like what sort of people would have that right, do you think? Would it be like
Hmm.
members of like champions of a council or something or
I would assume it would be people of importance, but, like, this begs to question what the political scheme is. Like, is it, like, mainly, like, the religious, is the power, or
yeah, so that's something
I'm,
that we
like,
can talk about too. Like
I'm inclined to think it would be, given that, like, the whole culture would be focused on, like, the importance of, like, the fire.
yeah.
So in that case, I would assume it would be, like, particular types of, um, people within the you can tell I don't know how churches work within this conceptual church that has conceptual important people in it. I would assume there would be some roles or type of people that
Yeah, there's
retain the
definitely
right today more so than others believe they have.
yeah. There would probably be like a high priestess or like a speaker for the god because they're like a living breathing entity, but they're
Mhm,
not necessarily going to deal with the like common folk.
mhm.
Um so there would probably be like a high priest or something. Um and then uh they might have like a bodyguard or something who uses it. There would also be probably um well each of these towns would have a uh one of these like high priestesses. So maybe they all like meet at some point or something.
There's like a warrior cats gathering?
That's not where I was going, but
Wait, what were you s wait, okay, what did you mean by this?
I mean, no,
What do you
it's a good analogy. I just did not think of warrior cats when I said it.
well, you were like, "They all meet," and I was like, all the clan leaders get together?
Yeah, it's like a kind of promoting the directions that people or kind of promoting the like endeavors that they should all work towards and like preserving the godhood and
Mhm,
stuff.
mhm. So then, when you say there's, like, leaders, does that mean, like, the general, like, religious leading thing, like, would that be widespread then? Or not necessarily?
Um,
Or maybe, like, depends on, like, just the area?
yeah, I think it would depend.
Like, and maybe the temperament of the god. I'm sure some areas are just different because people are different ways. And also, like, everyone's in isolation in different locations.
Yeah, I think. Well, do we want to have them like interact with each other, or do we want them to be completely isolated?
I think it's interesting if they're, like, 90% isolated, but sometimes well, like, cause like, people can travel
Yeah.
between places, so there's at least some interaction. But I think it's more interesting if, like, the not all of the leaders interact with each other on a like, there's no standard committee, I feel like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, the relations between important figures, between locations forms based on more so just how the individuals decide to go about things and not because there's, like, a political conference.
Okay.
That makes sense to me, but maybe it doesn't make sense to
No,
you.
that makes sense. Yeah, I like that. And it kind of like shows like you can get from one town to the other, but it's not necessarily like a like they don't have disputing borders. They aren't like in political rivals with each other or anything.
Mhm.
Um,
And also, I feel like if there's like a regular committee, it makes it feel too easy that people can just meet up almost.
yeah. Okay. Um, do we want this entire story to be only in this one town, or do we want to uh, stretch out?
I think seeing the world is interesting.
Okay.
Like exploring like different things in different areas and different people from different places. So like a more like a more traveling wandering story.
Okay.
Um I think it would be more interesting if it was like stretched out also cuz like if you didn't like a place you could just go to a different place and try something new.
I have too many tabs open. Sorry. Um, okay. I like the idea that the what do we think about like messages and stuff? Do we think that like they're connected enough to send messages from town to town, or do we think that they are like completely cut off? Because like not meeting makes sense, but like carrier pigeons or something.
I think like sending messages between locations is I think that's like fine. Also cuz like you could probably I would imagine some people have mercenaries that they would send to go to other places to deliver potentially resources or documents or whatever people deliver that matters to them between places.
Probably. And that brings up another point. Like we talked a little bit about like a group of uh people that like
Mhm.
ferry people from one zone to the other. Do we have like a name for them, or like any like motifs or anything?
What do you mean by ferry?
Like
Like
people who need to go from one town to the other, they can bring them for like a price and stuff. Um,
would these be separate from wanderers? Is it wanderers? Let me go look at my DMs. Shit. What was it called? Going to our pinned messages. Here we go. Let me read it real quick. Oh, you just called them skilled couriers? Are these separate from these skilled couriers?
no, I think that they're probably like the same type of people.
They could be called couriers, then I should note I hate naming things and I suck at it.
Couriers is good. I like couriers.
I'm so simple.
Yeah, couriers are the probably like the rangers, the messengers, and the uh like they're the people to talk to if you need to get from one town to the next. probably.
Mhm.
Um, Maybe they're appointed by the the high priest or the hierophants of the towns. Um,
Mhm. Do you think there is like a god for travel for walking for the walking god for like for walking and running, two separate gods. Um do you think there is like one that is mobile that does not have a town, it just
Definitely,
moves?
yeah. I think
Um
that there are the world is littered with gods.
mhm.
So there are many that roam the wilds down below.
The
Um,
gods are like plastic bags on the trees on the Texas highway.
um, yes, they are.
So many.
There are some that roam the skies in like roving bands with bandits and stuff. Like they're probably
Mhm.
everywhere.
Mhm. Okay, interesting. Continuing with the careers. I was just thinking because I was like, "Oh, they walk?"
Hmm?
I was thinking because like, oh, if they walk, I wonder if they are more inclined to have something to do with those types of gods than other people if they travel between locations a lot.
Yeah. They could be like
Maybe not
worshippers
all
for
of them,
like
but
a traveling god or something.
some of them. I would imagine some of them would be.
Yeah.
Maybe it depends on if you like
Meet them because
meet them
there's no guarantee that you're gonna meet them.
or like I don't know if this is a setting specific thing or what, but like it says like that like people will like
Tithe.
tithe. Teething is for babies. Like it says like people will like tithe to like do can they only do one? Cause like or can they do multiple?
Generally, people tithe to the god that they are like that is protecting them. Usually that in our setting that would mean the person that is protecting the settlement that they're in. Um,
Hmm.
so like the burning god or whatever. Um,
So if they are like generally one that always returns back to that one place, even if they traveled, it would be like a burning god and not a traveling god. They could not do both. Or maybe or would it be like dependent on the person, just which one they decided?
well, generally you needed to actually show up in front of the god and tithe
Mm,
to them. Like in person. So
I see. So it is like a if you see it thing
yeah,
and then choose to. Okay.
from what I understand.
If that's the case, then like I would assume wandering god people are actually like rare because like it's like you wouldn't find them if they're moving around.
Probably, yeah. Um, Okay, so
Mm,
what sort of dude do you want to create?
dude, um, this is a good question.
um,
Ew! Did you hear that?
I heard like a cap moving around a.
That was my mouse on my desk. There's a piece of
Wow,
fucking gravel underneath it.
terrible.
I got rid of it. It's okay.
Good job.
Go on.
Um, the first thing that you have to choose is your origin.
I'm staring at the page right now.
Okay.
But continue while I'm looking at it.
You got the nobody, which is like a is no one, and here by accident. Divinity is hidden, strange, brand new to you.
Is
Um,
the start is like the start of the campaign is always the god killer becoming the god killer, yes?
um,
'Cause it
yes,
says when you answer the questions, do so with the knowledge you haven't yet killed one, you'll get there session 1.
yes.
Okay. So this is like the setup for what's going to happen,
Yeah, the first
but
session
they are not yet.
you will have you'll have access to the mortal moves, and that's basically it. Um,
Mhm.
but when you kill your first god, you will have access to your divinity and your divine moves as well.
So in choosing the origin, you're actually choosing what it's about to be.
Yes.
Okay. Hmm.
Um, an example I have is that I know someone who played the Wronged, and the first session was them um essentially going somewhere and having all of their like family die.
Mhm.
And but them being able to kill the god that did that, and then that sparking their divinity. Um so the first session is like basically backstory.
Mhm. I'm like reading the divine triggers right now for these.
Hmm.
Hmm. The nobody or the devout is interesting, I think. The divine trigger and mortal trigger for the devout are appealing,
Do the devout
but the okay. The nobody flavor-wise is interesting, but like the shit for the devout is the shit for the devout is cool. So
your divinity is radiant, soft, and inevitable. And enviable, not inevitable. Although
it's
inevitable is
going
good
to
too.
happen. You can't run.
Okay. Um so yeah, so we can answer those uh, few questions after the devout. First, like, what god do you think you worshipped, or what sort of yeah? Hello.
Oh fuck. I was muted. I said that like begs the question where this person comes from, I suppose. Um Conceptually, is this basic? It might be basic. Let me think about that for a moment. I think like a person who has been meh, 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 meh. Like, how do I phrase this? Like, I think someone who has been going around, I feel like would work the best for like a setting like this.
Okay, so like already a courier.
Yeah, like they do travel. I don't know if they're ferrying people. Maybe a messenger.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
do you
like they
think
do, like a purse, not a. Go on. I'm thinking.
do you think that the you used to worship the god of traveling?
Hmm. Would there be one or multiple traveling
There
gods?
there are multiple traveling gods. There's probably one of like travelers. Probably like the sparrow or something. But yeah, there would be one. I'm gonna say like the yeah, I'm gonna say the sparrow is the god of travelers, of wayward spirits, and it's kind of like a boundary crosser kind of thing.
Would there be a because I think the concept of like a person who like primarily what they've been doing is not necessarily working for one particular place, but going between locations and passing on messages for people, you know what I mean? Would there be like a deliverance god, if that
Like
makes sense?
deliverance. I have to look that up for a
So,
second.
like the act of delivering.
It's an American thriller film.
So good.
Yeah, there would probably be a god that's like based on delivering things and like a messenger. Um, I'm not sure which one it would be. Do you have any ideas?
No.
Doubtful.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
could be like a swan
I'm
or something.
I'm just spitballing.
Could be a swallow.
Swallow? Are they all birds?
Um, most of the
Birds.
ones that are travelers would
Mhm.
be.
Da-da-da-da-da. That one's too normal.
What do you mean?
I'm talking to myself.
Uh huh.
Mail delivery by animal. This is not what I was looking for, but thank you, Wikipedia. Um, Stop giving me homing pigeons. I don't want the yeah, make the pigeon god. Um, I'm trying to find. Let me look at bird. What's this? Oh, that's not a bird. Hmm. What?
What?
Sorry, I'm getting all sorts of interesting facts. Around 1899, reindeer were used to deliver mail in Alaska for the U.S. Postal Service. The first route was established by Sheldon Jackson, etc. Distances of 30 to 50 miles were covered by the service, with the reindeer carrying up to 300 pounds, 140 kilograms of mail. What the fuck? This is crazy. I don't believe this Wikipedia article. This shit's so fake. There's no way.
No, I'm just looking up Sheldon Jackson.
Um, so anyways, there's there's like yeah, so I was looking for animals that were commonly used for messages, but like I just got like homing pigeons. I would assume you don't want a pigeon god. Um,
I mean, a pigeon god would work.
a pigeon god could work. A pigeon is so unassuming.
How about a pigeon hawk?
A pigeon hawk? What's a pigeon hawk?
It's
Is that a
apparently a real
thing?
bird, but I just tried to make it up.
Oh, that is a real thing.
It's a merlin.
You could do a pigeon hawk.
Sure.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we can roll with that. Presumably coastal forest marlin. Now we're just looking at pictures of them. Oh, they're so small.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Small boy.
That is tiny.
Anyway, so what lie did the pigeon hawk tell you?
What what beautiful lies came from it. Um, hmm. What I guess somehow in order to answer that question, I must dive into how gods are generally overall, just so I know how they work. Um, are they do they have a general personality scheme that they work off of in a way that they typically provide like protection to people overall? Like what does if you believe a god, does that like why do they tell people things? You know what I mean? Do they tell
Um,
people things?
they they don't have a like a general like cookie cutter like
Mhm.
demeanor. They're kind of all different, but people believe them because they generally protect them and they will generally like people believe in them for two reasons. Usually it's fear and like a fear of the outside and protection and stuff like that. Um, or it's a zealotry and a want for power. And
Mm.
an idea that like if I suck up to this thing, maybe it'll give me some of the power.
What if like do they ever like meddle in people's affairs?
It depends on the god. I think the pigeon hawk god would probably. Um,
'Cause like what if like this god killer was someone who like did stuff like they did shit between towns, but there was some like thing that like it was for the pigeon hawk. You know what I mean? And it seemed it seemed like a good thing, but actually they were just like carrying out this horrible thing for it with the shit they were spreading around.
like what?
Mm, what can you do with a message that would ruin everyone's life?
Could be spreading rumors about another god.
Spreading rumors about another god. Spreading. There's like fear mongering,
Blackmail.
blackmail. What if like it was maybe the pigeon hawk had beef with someone, a god, and like this message would bring about, like it would turn the people against them or something. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
cause some kind of
insurrection.
like like the god killer basically creates the downfall of a town just by doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, what if there is an entire town that's overtaken by the kudzu because you said it, like, gave the wrong message at one point or something?
Hmm.
Or gave the right message because of the pigeon hawk, but it
And
was,
it's the bird's fault.
yeah, it's the bird's fault.
It is the bird's fault. Yeah, I think it is interesting if they were guided on the belief that they were, is the word belligerent? Define belligerent.
That's a warlike behavior.
Oops, what's the opposite of belligerent? Friendly or peaceable? Um Non-belligerent.
You looking for benevolent?
Yes, it's be something. Um like if they spread things um because they believed it was part of the because like some of the gods are protecting the towns. If they believed it was another way of I don't know if fighting back is the correct word, but another piece,
Mhm.
that was being worked towards, that was being promoted um through these actions and things that were like, it's so hard to come up with stuff on the spot. I'm a person that has a thought and then I sit there and simmer with it for like 7 days thinking
I
about it straight.
know.
And then I'm like, "Okay, I've got it," and then I have it. What do you mean you know?
I've had enough games with you to know that that's what you're like.
Oh, that's true. I guess you have witnessed me as a player, like, proceed to feed you information over the course of, like, 9 days, and
you
then at the
give
end of
me
them, I
like
go,
you give me like tiny little morsels of your thoughts, and I'm like, just give it to me.
"Well, they're all I have," and then they all come together, like, 10 days after. Also, because my morsels, they have to be right. It's okay, you got a whole document for once in your life.
I
Congratulations.
did. It was wild. Never before seen.
You're the second most blessed DM because you got my second best organized document.
Hooray.
Hooray. Anyways. Um, so yeah, I'm one that sits and ponders for 7 days in a row. But like, yeah, if they thought it was something good, and they spent so long doing these things for the god and spreading these messages around, but like it was actually all like this giant ploy to cause some huge problem for like one or a couple particular things, and then everything just falls apart with that final message, and it's like, oh, that's not so
Concept.
good.
Instead of pigeon hawk, maybe it's a spider god.
Okay, go on.
Um, and like they were like stringing you along in like a web of different messages that were like causing domino effects to happen that led to this
Hmm.
civilization falling.
So this character to start off is a pawn,
Yeah.
and and they're basically feeding little shit left and right that's like, initially it seems kind and good, but when you put them all together, the one who's pulling all of the strings knows it's gonna like in on itself with this final thing, and they deliver the final thing, and they witness it, and it's very bad.
So do you think this would be moving on to like the covenants page? Which covenant do you think this would fall under?
Let me
Because
see.
you don't tithe to them anymore.
No,
Um,
so it's not worship.
yeah, you might fear. Um, I don't think you owe. Might be
Mm-mm.
tutelage. I don't think it's lost. Um,
Probably not.
or bitterness, probably actually.
It's not grief. Yeah, it's probably bitterness.
Okay. What
But let me read these
golden?
real quick just to make sure.
Okay,
I was reading them, but I gotta read them again, just in case.
gotta read them 7 times of the course a week.
Listen! I'm cring. Oh yeah, probably bitterness.
Yeah. So, what golden, beautiful thing do they have that you desperately want?
What do gods have?
They have power. They have this one specifically has like connection and ability to just like go wherever, probably. Um, maybe they physically have something of yours that you have been wanting.
Like something that was originally given up to it,
Yeah.
and now I want it back for obvious reasons.
And
Do they
that could
go
be
on?
like anything from like a physical object to like a
Like a
trait of
piece of
yours or something.
piece of your humanity?
Yeah.
Let's go with a piece of your humanity or whatever
Okay.
that means. Um, what are things that you could what does a spider want from a person? Maybe that's a hard question to ask because if I were a spider right now, I would not want anything from a human. Um, I have to think about the lust of sending mail.
The lust of sending mail.
I have to romanticize this in my brain so hard that I come up with something real quick.
Hmm.
Hmm. What is the beauty in sending a message, generally speaking?
What do you mean? It depends on
Is
the
it
message.
yes, is it the concept that you are connecting people
Yeah.
or the feelings that are evoked when someone that one's more specific and it doesn't always evoke feeling when someone gets mail though. Um
I think it's just the concept of connecting people.
mhm. Communication, creating a distance where there is not one.
Yeah.
Concept of communication overall. What ties to communication would you give up?
Your tongue.
Yeah, I can be mute. I feel like that would make this a very difficult campaign.
Perhaps.
Probably. I'm probably shocked. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Um,
um,
the ability to read.
that could be a good one. You can't read any contents that you are
Oh
carrying.
my god, and that's why you didn't know what you were doing? Oh, that's fucked up.
I like that.
The ability to read I think it should either be the ability to read or the ability to like write. But like if you can't write, does that mean you're crippled or you just like psychically can't do it for some reason?
Probably like
Um,
you put uh your pen to the pen to the page and you just like can't bring yourself to do it.
just doesn't come out. Hmm. What is more interesting? Not being able to read or not being able to write? Reading will directly impact me more all the time than not being able to. Also, if I can write but I can't read, maybe that just means I can't write also.
Yeah, I think it's both.
Okay, I'm gonna do the reading one then. The ability not to like yeah, so like a blind messenger conceptually they can see probably. But, like,
Yeah, but they physically can't. Like,
they have like horrible dyslexia.
yeah, everything swims. And then you have two more gods to form a covenant with.
Two more.
Two more.
Where?
Um, well, we get to make them up, I think. Um, okay. So, do you think there's anyone you would have studied under? Do you think there's anyone? The covenant of worship is probably pretty easy because it's the person that you're probably tithing to in whatever city that you live in. Um, but you travel from place to place, so maybe that's not as
So maybe they
simple.
it's yeah, because they probably don't live anywhere.
Yeah.
Or if they live somewhere, it's maybe for like just for the moment. Um, I'm gonna make a Google Doc real quick,
Okay.
just so I can start writing stuff down. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Maybe for covenant of grief, it could be the god that was killed when you uh
The one that it is my fault.
yeah,
Hmm.
like you still pay respects to it or something.
So this, oh, the covenants going to like they're going to form
No, these are just like connections that you have with gods in the world. Stuff like that.
prior to the campaign?
Yeah.
Will the grief one would it happen in or no? No, because right, because I got confused for a moment. Wait, am I confused? What's happening? Is if the first session is a backstory session, does that mean this is happening or like this has already happened and this is the backstory for what comes next?
Um so essentially we're ironing this out and then we're gonna probably
Hmm.
play mm, depending on how this the rest of this session goes, it's probably gonna be like that last message that you deliver to
Hmm.
uh the place and you watch the fall of uh the city. Um
So, assumedly, grief will come session one,
yeah,
depending on how stuff goes.
probably.
Mhm. So then grief. So if we are starting with fire, would this mean that that it will be the fire,
Um
or are we considering changing something?
I like the fire one. I don't want to kill it.
So for real,
We could kill the bug one.
let's kill the bug
Let's go.
one. Eliminating the horrors that I have to be sad for.
Yeah, maybe you killed a like a giant centipede dude.
Hmm. Very kind bug, rest in peace.
What dangerous secret does their corpse still hold?
The plague. Um,
Maybe they have the only like maybe they have the knowledge of the how to kill the spider god because
oh
uh
yeah, because they're both bugs.
yeah and because they maybe that's why the spider wanted to kill him
There's like
because he's the only one
bug
that had
beef.
the yeah there's bug beef yeah
Would
there's
it be a
bug beef
centipede or like a praying mantis? What's a good bug?
praying mantis is fun.
Praying mantis. I could grieve a praying mantis if I killed one.
orchid orchid mantis.
Orchid mantis. Yeah, the more beautiful, the more horrible it is. And they
Okay.
know how to kill a spider.
Yes, but they are a corpse now.
Hmm.
But somewhere in their corpse, there's probably some hints to it. You just
Hmm.
haven't been able to go back yet for
Yeah.
some reason. Why haven't you been able to go back yet? Just your own.
I would assume if I'm killing, if when a god dies, a curse happens, right?
Yeah.
Is unleashed. Could that be blocking, like making it difficult to, because like if they die and the whole city dies with them, like it is possible whatever killed everything from that curse is just like it's you just can't get to it easy. Just,
Yeah.
it is protected. The corpse is technically protected by all the shit around it now.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Like its grave is just too hazardous. I like that personally. Da, 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 da. Do you have any issues or con thought?
No, I like it. I'm just
Hmm.
writing it down as well.
I can't hear it when you type, so I just assume you're like sitting there in silence.
Sorry, is this that better?
I can't hear it. It's fine. I don't need to hear it. This means you have a good mic.
It does. It also means that my noise gate is working.
Yeah. One more.
Okay.
I'm looking at them. I have to save this also. Okay, it's like I don't like that Chrome auto bookmarks things to folders now. Like it's convenient if you're like saving a bunch of shit to one folder at the same time, but like
I haven't messed with my bookmarks in quite some time, so
oh, as you know, I have a bookmarking system. I use them all the time. It's that update they did. It's not good. So bad. It also makes it have like lag because they tried making it look sleek and like nice design because it's like the internet or whatever. It's not
mm.
real. I preferred it when it was technical. I'm looking at the other ones. Okay, so we have tied the bitterness one to the grief one.
Do we think that someone that a god like got you out of the clutches of the spider, or do we think that um,
Yeah, we could do debt or worship depending on like what happened in correlation to the mantis's death.
Yeah, because they were probably. Oh, here's an idea.
Hmm.
Maybe the spider knew that you were the god killer and like trapped you in a situation where you had to kill the mantis.
Hmm. So they knew before me.
Yeah.
It could be that in terms of debt in if we do debt, it could be that depending on the curse of the mantis, it could be that like in the god killer like killing the mantis and the curse that was unleashed, they like if that entire zone is like an issue, like you can't really go there anymore, and it's like preserving the mantis's corpse or whatever, it could also be that like they were going to be stuck there with it too.
Hmm.
Um, and I
Or
sub go
they
on.
kind of like shielded you from the rest of the world knowing that you were a god killer and like immediately trying to come after you.
Re- Explain.
Like they put like they hid you essentially from the rest of the gods that might have like been fearful of you and have tried to like come after you after this deed has happened when you should have been recognized as a god killer.
Like after this event, this person managed to continue in silence because of the protection of another.
Yeah. I don't know, just spitballing.
I think I do like that one. I like that one more than being saved. Cause like also this probably means that like you're just being used by them now instead.
Yeah. Okay. Um, what animals would do that?
What animals provide protection?
Or like
What's
cover?
what's that bird?
Bird of
You know the
paradise.
one You know the bird that creates a false sense of security for fish by
Yes.
casting a shadow over the water? What's the bird that makes a
Black
shadow?
heron.
Black heron? Is that it? Let me check. I oh yes, it's this one.
I love him.
I think we should do the bird.
Okay.
The bird that is like the reason I know about this bird is there's some Tumblr post where someone posts like a picture of the bird and someone's like my mom. Like we should do the evil mom bird.
Yeah, so the black heron is currently keeping your power a secret. Or will be
Mhm.
after this first session and stuff like
Mhm. All right, so yeah, just new friend. Friend ended with suspicious spider. New friendship started with suspicious bird. Would this be worship or debt?
that. Do you think you tithe or do you think that they
I don't think they'd
you
want to tithe to another god after the spider.
okay, and then you owe it.
Okay. Shielded. Shielded from the world's knowledge of their status, I suppose it would be.
Yeah.
And the time of need is Right, is during the moment.
Yeah. In the aftermath of, we need a name for this city.
Yeah, we do.
Legs.
Legs?
And bugs, you know.
Right, let's see.
Thing. I don't know. I'm bad at naming cities.
I googled orchid mantis and just saw um oh my god, I want one of these so bad. I like want these in my house. I really like I conceptually really like having exotic creatures, unfortunately. Fucking this is such a stupid thumbnail.
What about Hive?
Hive?
What's the name for the town?
Is it like straight up HIV or is it
Mm-hmm.
like a derivative?
Nope, just HIV.
I'm fine with that. I'm a simple man
Okay.
of hive. The aftermath.
Okay. What's your name?
Oh no, I have to pick a gender right now.
This game has weird genders. You have if you look at their list, um,
Oh, these are. Oh wow. Okay. That's not a gender I know. Queer.
yeah, monster,
Can
witch, queer, wretched, irradiated, haunted, god's tongue, prophet, radiant. You know,
can you explain how these genders are used?
they're not used necessarily. They're supposed to represent like your path to like as you become uh more of a god killer, what you will do with it. Like
Be.
what, like it's kind of like your mononym almost.
It's your. It's your future title.
Yeah, kind of.
I see. Okay. You said it has its own genders, and I was confused when I looked at the document. Um,
You can come up with all of these later, but
I probably will need to because, like, the name requires me to conceptualize the entire person, which I definitely cannot do in 30 minutes.
yeah.
The vibes will not be good if I just do that on the spot.
Um then your homework is to think of a name, gender, flaws, and what your divinity looks like. When you unleash it, it's usually like there are examples in the book of like being able to see ghosts from the river and stuff like that. Um,
Is it is the divinity in correlation to like one of the would it be like in correlation to the spider or would it or
it
like
is
is
your
this
own divinity. It is your own
this
manifestation of
is
godhood.
them as a person
Yes.
themselves? Okay, I can think about that. Yes, this is doable. What if I was just like, no, I can't do that, sorry.
That would suck.
That would suck. I'm sorry, I feel evil right now.
And I don't think there's anything else that we can think of. If you have other ideas for the setting,
I'll
shoot them to
just
me and everything.
throw them at you at any point in time.
Yeah.
Hmm. This is a cool, like, world conceptually vibe wise to work with because I will probably have ideas that I will throw at you whether you like them or not,
Hell yeah.
because um, because you were like it's Mononoke core, and I was like Medella's Mononoke core, but like only in some parts. So I'm already there a little bit. I can work with this.
Cool.
Hmm.
Um, I'm very excited for this game.
We lay the groundwork for pondering. I'm excited for you because it seems like you've been wanting to play it for 3 million years with someone and you keep getting denied
Pretty much.
the opportunity. So I hope I'm a good partner for this. Because if I'm not, I will feel very sad for you.
You don't need to feel sad for me.
My only concern is that I've never done this before, nor have I done a one-on-one, nor have I done a collaborative world with someone. So there's a lot of performance concerns to be had.
You do fine.
Also, because your style is quite different from my style, in that you seem to come up with things, and as you know, I'm like a bacteria culture. You like throw it in, and then you like give me like a couple weeks.
A couple weeks.
I'm simmering.
Try 3 years, Athena.
What do you mean 3 years?
Medell.
And it's so much better than it was when it started.
It is. The bacteria has grown on, like, up the sides of the flask, but you're gonna have to let it out soon.
I mean, yeah, it is like done now. Not the not the prep. I mean, like the world exists. There is no more conceptualizing really to go. Like it's just needs to like all be documented,
Yeah.
which will take God knows how long.